up, y'all? It's Jay here, and welcome back to my channel. Y'all, I'm already laughing because I'm thinking about how funny this story is. So please bear with me because I'm literally going to be cracking up this entire time. Okay? Okay. Okay. So before we get into today's video, please subscribe, like, and share. That's it. Subscribe to my channel, like some videos, share. And then follow me on Instagram at Jayden1. I'll link my name in the description. I'll also put it here so that way you can't say that you don't remember the name of my Instagram. Also, if you are interested in donating to my fashion fund, just some projects I've been wanting to put together. I just need some funding. So I'm looking into grants, crowdfunding, all types of stuff. So if you feel gracious and you feel like helping a sister out, I'll link my GoFundMe and my Cashapp in the description. And we'll go from there. But thank you in advance for your support. I really love y'all and I thank y'all. Okay. So today's video is very lighthearted. I feel like I've been getting really deep in my other videos, which is okay because this is all things Jayden, and I just really love bringing y'all into my healing journey. I feel like I'm pretty much an open book, and so that's what y'all gonna get. Y'all gonna get the good, the bad, and the not so cute. This funny video today is a part of the not so cute, but it all turned out to be just it turned out to benefit me at the very end. But I need to take y'all on a roller coaster ride. So today's video is about that time I thought I knew who my husband was. That time I thought I knew, honey. That time I thought I knew. So before we even get to that part, I want to kind of give you a bit of context. So before I got saved, right, in 2016, when I got saved for real in 2016, I did not want to get married. I had no desire, actually, to get married. I didn't grow up seeing great examples of marriage. Every marriage I saw, in my opinion, was it just didn't look right. That's the best way I can describe it from my perspective as a child. It didn't look like anybody enjoyed the marriage they were in. It just seemed like people were married and then they ended up being miserable, or they ended up cheating, or being bored. I didn't really see a lot of married couples talking to one another. I just didn't feel like marriage was the end goal for anyone who wanted to have a happy life. And because I wanted to have a happy life where I had freedom and just, I don't know, autonomy and whatever, independence, I just felt like marriage wasn't for me. So I made the decision back in high school to not pursue marriage. I would always say, when I get older, I'm going to get a degree. I'm going to move into my own place. I'm going to work. I'm going to have boyfriends. And I'm going to just do what I want to do. And I just knew I would have the best, most joyous life I could ever imagine. I was set. I was set. That mindset continued from high school to probably my third year of college because, like I told y'all, I got saved in 2016. And so in maybe, that was Easter of 2016 when I got saved. So that summer, the summer after that, when I came home, I was introduced to so many different lifestyles, people who were dating, people who were being courted, people who were engaged, married for years, people were actually pursuing like a partnership with other people. And I was seeing that in so many different forms, whether these were people who were starting fresh or people who were already like deep in the game with kids and just like having a very positive experience. And I was just like, wow, this exists. Like, getting married and like liking who you're married to exists. And I found out that marriage was actually something that God designed. Like, he wanted people to partner together and be fruitful. And he wanted them to build together and take care of one another and like have sex and build a family and just ABC through Z. Like, he wanted a lot to happen within the confines of marriage. And I was just like, wow, why didn't I know this? A lot of what I saw was new information for me. And I know a lot of people are going to look at this and be like, what do you mean this is new information? Like, how didn't you know? Y'all have to understand, like, I came from a totally different kind of background. Like, in the Lutheran faith, well, I don't know much about the Lutheran faith outside of how it started. But I didn't see it wasn't a lot of open dialogue about relationships and marriage and sex and all of that. And then I got to the Kojic environment, where very traditional. So what happens in the house, stay in the house. What happens in the marriage, stay in the marriage. Like, keep your marriage and God as a entity, and everybody else figure out their own stuff. Like, it's not a lot of open communication about that. And then the non-denominational church I went to, again, like, not a lot of conversation about relationships, marriage, love, sex, how to be intimate, how to continue to choose one another day after day, even when you don't like each other, like all of that. And if it was, I just wasn't paying attention. So again, like, all of these things I saw going into this new season of my life, it all felt like new information. So my mind and perspective of marriage and relationships started to shift. I then realized, boom, if I call myself a submitted and surrendered follower of Christ, I cannot have sex until I'm married. Boom. God has a specific kind of person already created for me that he has called to partner with me in a God-led marriage. Like, there's someone out here who's designed for me. I'm not going to call that person a soulmate. I'm not going to say that, it's only this one, in my opinion, this one person. But I think it's a kind of person that God has called me to partner with. And so, but at that point in my life, it felt like, okay, God has this person who he has designed to partner with me. Okay, cool. God has a way in which he wants his people to court one another. There's a such thing as holy dating, or dating in holiness, partnering in holiness. Cool. Like, I'm just learning and gaining all this knowledge about a God-led marriage, God-led partnership and courtship. So I'm like, my mind was blown. For real. My mind was absolutely blown. And so I went from not being interested in marriage at all to now being open to all the possibilities that marriage could bring. How beneficial marriage could be, how challenging it could be, how rewarding it could be, how much of a role God plays in a person's marriage, and how much it matters who you marry. Who you marry matters. But we'll get into that later. So 2016 and 2017, like, from, I would say, May of 2016 onward, but specifically those two, no, summer 2016, 17, and 18, those 3 summers, I spent being very interested in understanding how to prepare for marriage and who my husband was. Like, I really wanted to know from God, who was my husband? Who have you called for me to marry, God? Tell me now. Tell me now. Like, I became almost obsessed. Like, obsessed. And then the other thing was, my church at that point was very, very heavy on your faith community needs to be involved in your courtship. And so a lot of people who had spiritual children at my church, they were very instrumental in promoting getting married young. And so they would like try to set people up. They would offer wisdom. They would offer coaching. They would offer wise counsel. Then there would be a lot of conversation about who so-and-so would be good with and who so-and-so wouldn't be good with. A workshop on preparing to be a wife. A workshop on preparing to be a husband. If you desire marriage, lift up your hands. She down on my... Like, I mean, it went up. It went up for like a couple of seasons at my church. Like, marriage was the talk of the town. And so I fell into that thinking, okay, boom, I go here. Let me start really, really internalizing the importance of this and then go on my own journey. And at that point, my dreams really started to like fire up a bit more. And so I'm like, okay, well, perhaps God will begin to show me more information about me and my marriage and my family. So fast forward to 2017, when I started like really seeking God about who my husband was. And at that point, I had started to befriend two people. One person was a guy who our friendship came out of nowhere. Like, he approached me just about hanging out, like kicking it sometimes. He asked for my number. Granted, it was clear as day that he had same-sex attraction. I'm not gonna say no names because I'm not messy. But I was like, okay. And seeing that, I'm like, okay, we could be friends. Then the other guy I became friends with, I was introduced to him by somebody. And we got real close and started to talk a lot. So these are two people who I'm talking to a lot. Me and the first guy, we hang out here and there. We have a lot of like disagreements. Like, the friendship itself became a bit toxic because the guy was toxic and was very like drama focused. But because I started to fall into trying to nurture the relationship and grow it into something it wasn't meant to be, I stayed in the friendship longer than I should have. Then the other guy, our friendship continued to grow and grow and grow. Now, when I was introduced to him, before that, I had a crush on him. And so when we became friends, I had to kind of like minimize the way I liked him. But it wasn't the easiest. And so I found myself just really trying to modify my behavior when we hung out. But then I would have dreams. I would have dreams about our friendship forming into something else. So I became kind of hyper-focused on what my dreams could mean and how to turn what I saw in my dreams into reality. But that didn't work out. We remained friends. We never had like a conversation about anything outside of like friendly topics. So I'll leave that one alone. But just to give you an idea of like how I was trying to navigate through this. So fast forward to 2018, I meet this guy at a mutual friend's house. And the friendship starts to grow rather quickly. Like, we're texting every day. Like, he's wanting to like hang out a lot. And I'm just going with the flow. I'm just going with the flow. It's like, it is what it is. You want to go here? Okay, let's go. You want to talk on the phone? Okay, cool. You want to text? Cool. Like, I'm letting him lead and all that. Then one day I start to think, okay, I don't want to fall into what I fell into with guy from 2017 who I started to have dreams about. Instead, let me ask God for permission to like him. And if God gives me permission to like him, then clearly that means it should develop, that our relationship should develop into something more romantic. So once I asked God for permission to like him, I asked my friend to give me like kind of like some wise counsel, prophetic counsel about the dynamic of the friendship and how I should go about being a part of it, because I didn't want to make the same mistake I had made before. So my friend had prayed for me, and then she came to me and was like, oh, I got like some revelation to share. So she shared that, she shared information about a whole bunch of things. But then she got to the topic of me and the friend. I'm gonna call him Derek. So she starts saying that me and Derek are called to be partners in life. And God has called us to come together. And there will come seasons where we'll grow apart, and then we'll come back even like stronger. We'll have disagreements, we'll have issues, but we'll come back even stronger. And a whole bunch of other stuff. Now, she never said, this man is your husband. Never! She just said partners in life. And so I took all that and I ran with it. I said partners in life? That means life partners. That means, ooh, he could be my husband. So then what I do? I start dropping my boundaries even more. So I already kind of had boundary issues in friendships anyway, but I started to drop these even more because I'm like, why do I need to have boundaries with somebody who might end up being my husband anyway? So I start talking to him even more, wanting to hang out even more, like sewing into our friendship a lot, a whole bunch of stuff. And then I started having all these dreams. Now, the dreams never showed us being married, but the dreams showed a lot with us in like a romantic context and like us building together a lot. It was just a lot of stuff highlighting like the dynamic of a romantic relationship. There was nothing sexual about these dreams, like, but it just showed us together a lot. And so I would interpret them as them reflecting God wanting us to be in a marriage. Yeah. So my dreams for me served as confirmation at that point. And mind you, I was very immature in that area, and like I lacked experience in interpreting dreams, especially my own. Now, I was on point about interpreting other people's dreams, but my own dreams, I think because I wanted something so badly, I started to interpret the dreams in a way that served my desires. So, in my opinion, my dreams confirmed what I thought my friend had prophesied to me. And that gave me leeway to like do whatever. If the friend wanted to talk to me for hours about the same thing all the time, cool. If my friend wanted me to pick him up, if Derek wanted me to drop him off somewhere, if Derek needed to borrow something, if Derek needed, I was always up and ready to do whatever Derek wanted and needed me to do. I was too overly indulged in that relationship to the point where it started to mess with me mentally, because I started to internalize much of what he would share with me. Even if he would talk to me about other females, like I would internalize what he would share. Like, oh my God, he hanging with this girl, he probably going to marry her. Oh my God, he said he got a crush on this new girl. Like, what if he starts hanging with her more instead of hanging with me? Like, I'm going through all of these what ifs in my head by myself, but still trying to show up as his friend without giving myself away. Like, I didn't want him to think that I was trying to be his wife, but I also wanted him to see, like, if I could be this great of a friend, then surely you should want to marry me. So I went through this for like, well, it was just for a summer, now that I think of it. From maybe May of 2018. I think it might have been May. To like when I left for England. A few months of me going through this. So imagine trying to go through all that without involving too many people, because I also didn't want to seem crazy. So I was like just trying to deal with it by myself. So then, boom. One day my uncle has a barbecue. And Derek comes through to the barbecue. Now, at this point in the friendship, Derek starts to be a bit condescending with some of his comments. He starts to say things that normal person would be like, okay, you trying to play me. And he would start to kind of downplay some of what I had going on, some of my accomplishments, some of what I was doing, some of what I was building. Now, 23-year-old Jay didn't realize that this was happening then, because I was so hung up on, we gonna get married. We got to make this happen. But Jay now is looking back like, yeah, he was definitely trying to downplay me. But anyway, so at the barbecue, we're like having a good time. I'm having a good time with my people. Derek comes through. I instantly started to develop a bit of anxiety. I don't know why. Maybe I was scared of what he thought about me and my family. But we're all talking, eating, laughing, having a grand time. Then me and Derek walk off, and Derek starts to talk to me about a girl he is attracted to. And then he talks about a dream he had where I was serving him in the dream. And I'm like, oh, I have an idea of what that means. So he says, oh, I feel like it just means like, oh, you're helping to serve my purpose in life. And I'm like, well, it could have a different type of meaning. Like, service could be, I think I mentioned something about a woman serving a man could mean like, them being called to marriage or like whatever. Like, I don't know. I think I was trying to hint at something. But then he says, I feel like you're called to be my life partner, but not my wife. Okay. So it reflects what my friend prophesied. However, not the way in which he perceives it to be. You called to be my life partner, but not my wife. What is a life partner, Derek? What is a life partner? Derek says a life partner carries a person emotionally, help carries out the person in his purpose, in his life, what he got going on, just helping him in life. What is your wife doing while I'm helping to carry you in purpose and building what you're supposed to build and in life and all of these things that would cause me to have more of a burden while I'm doing so in my husband's life and carrying my own stuff? What is your wife doing? Is she just bearing your children and being cute and holding your hand and showing up at parties with you and taking pictures and being cute on y'all wedding invitations? Like, is she a stand-in? Am I doing the heavy lifting while she's standing in and being the cutesy one? Help me understand, Derek. Like, help me understand, Derek. As you can imagine, I was irritated. I was so irritated to hear this man say, you're going to do heavy lifting in my life, but I'm going to marry someone else. I don't know about y'all, but when I marry who I'm going to marry, my male friend is not going to be doing any heavy lifting as far as I'm concerned, whether it's emotionally, spiritually, professionally. Like, that's not what my friend is for. You know? And I'm not even saying like I'm called to do all this extra heavy lifting for my husband and vice versa. But like, I know we're supposed to carry one another or uphold one another. But I'm not doing that for somebody else's husband. And he better not be doing that for somebody else's wife. Hello? So imagine my confusion to hear this man say that to me. Like, are you kidding me? Are you absolutely kidding me? So I was like, oh, hey, I'm not here to argue with anybody's revelation or their perspective of a dream they had. Like, that's how God's talking to you. That's you and God. So I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna shut up. But yeah, I was heartbroken. I immediately ran to the phone and was like, let me call my friend because I need to check with you about this prophetic word you gave me. So I called, I said, hey, what's going on? Because he's not saying what you told me. Oh my God. And then she gave me some really good, like, wise counsel in the moment, which ultimately led me back to God, right? So I went to God. I went into prayer for the past couple of days. Back then, I feel like I was doing it for him to, again, confirm what I thought to be true. But I feel like I was also seeking for peace. And so I was praying heaven down for peace and for information, clarity, like all types of stuff. And then one day, me and Derek get the texting again. And we're talking about emojis. And he asked me what are the emojis on in his contact information in my phone. And I tell him what his emojis are. So then he asked me, no, I asked him what are mine. And he tells me what mine are, and I say, you know, why did you choose the emojis you chose? And he said, one was because I'm funny, because he loved me. And then another one was because of our relationship now, but who knows what could happen in the future. What are you talking about, Derek? What are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, and I was just like, oh, okay. So then I go from, oh, I'm finally getting to a place of peace to, what could he mean by that? Is he saying like, oh, we cool now, but eventually, like, maybe in the future, he's open to being more, like, just going through it. So fast forward to winter of 2018. I'm now in England. And then I come home and I'm going to talk about my experience in the UK. I had lived there for a year, by the way. But I came back to Chicago for winter break. And that entire winter break, he was being extremely weird. Like, extremely weird to me. And he had started being friends with new people. And so, of course, you know, there was a change in our friendship. But it was almost like, I felt like, to a certain extent, he didn't really mess with me no more, but didn't know how to tell me. So I decided I go back to England in January of 2019, and I'm like laser focused on I had 2 papers due. And then I was also like, you know what? I'm going to put some space between the two of us because I need to focus on me. And I'm tired of being like burdened by like whatever this was. Like, I don't want to carry that with me anymore. So he's messaging me, he's texting me, he's sending me Marco Polos, and I'm not responding. Part of it is because I left my phone in my room some days, and the other part is because I needed to focus, and I couldn't keep putting my focus on whatever that was, friendship or whatever. I could not give that more attention than what I was giving to my work. And baby, when I tell you that man got mad, he was heated. He was heated. Derek was mad. Derek was blue. Derek was blue. And that's what started me putting up boundaries in that way, is what started the like shift, the huge shift in our friendship. It went from me being overly lenient with my boundaries and with what I allowed for the sake of what I thought was going to grow into a romantic relationship, to me putting me first and my work first, and then, you know, him then whatever happened in his brain. But I reflected on what happened in our friendship, and I thought about how much he benefited from me not having boundaries. And so at any point, he could have just been like, I see you as a friend now and forevermore. And that would have stopped a lot of what I was doing and allowing. But then he would have lost a lot of benefits. And I think that happens in a lot of relationships, with women who are in friendships with men and vice versa, where the one person is in the friend zone, the other person is the one that's like being desired. And one person allows a certain dynamic to go on for so long because it's happening in that person's favor, and they choose to not correct certain things, because why lose out on being prioritized in a person's life? Why lose out on that? If you're the one being helped, you're the one being sold into, you're the one being loved on, like why would you do something that would end in you having less access to this person who's a giver? So yeah, I looked at that situation, and I realized that I had put myself in that position many times over the years because I liked someone. But this time it felt justified because I thought I had revelation that pointed to marriage. So y'all, the lesson in all of this is this: do not idolize revelation. Do not idolize dreams. Do not idolize prophetic words. Don't idolize any information you get that you believe is from God, because ultimately revelation is not the Lord of your life. The Lord is the Lord of your life. And we all know the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh. So you don't want to get so caught up in something that you end up losing the relationship with God, because now your life is so consumed by something else. He give you something and your everything becomes about that, and you forget about the one who gave it to you. And so yeah, you don't want God to have to correct you by taking what he gave you, so that you will return to where you were to begin with, which is with him. And so I realized early on, and by early on I mean like a couple of years ago, I realized that I had made the revelation I received the Lord over my life. I allowed it to control me to the point where I even had like I don't want to say mental issues, but I was struggling in my mind. Like I was heavy a lot, anxious a lot. Like a lot of my conversations were focused on whether or not the revelation I was given would manifest. And so you do not want to fall into that trap. I am a firm believer in God does show people who they're called to marry. I've seen these situations play out. I've heard testimonies of this. So I know it to be true. Like God is very strategic in how he leads people to one another. I love it. But I don't believe that God will show you something so that you would take it and run with it and never return to him. Like, you got to be strategic about any kind of revelation you get. If you were to get a prophetic word about God opening a specific door, that should lead you to God. Of course, thank him for it. Thank him for it. Praise him for it in advance. But also pray that the Lord will prepare you. Pray for clarity. Pray for wisdom. Pray for strategy. Like, you got to be a more sharpened version of yourself to carry out what he allows you to see. So that should be the focus. Stay humble. Stay postured before him. Stay bowed before him. Keep whatever he shows you on the altar. What I should have done when I did receive a word about our relationship or friendship, I should have put it on the altar, and I should have prayed that the Lord would give me wisdom and that he will lead me in how to navigate through this friendship and to guard my heart. I should have prayed that he would guard my heart, because me back then, I was still going through a lot of healing. So of course, certain things could trigger things that weren't quite addressed yet, you know? So overall, I don't regret befriending the guy. I don't regret the revelation I received. I don't regret none of it. What I do regret is not going straight to God and allowing him to have what he showed me. Because I had a lot I could have been focused on more consistently back then. And so, yeah, I hope that this helps to encourage whoever may be dealing with whatever. Like, this can be applied to all kinds of aspects in your life. So let it help you, baby. Let it preach to you. I love y'all a lot, and I'm praying for y'all, and I hope y'all have an amazing Saturday. So, bye.